Go ahead, Justin. Go big what?
Red!
Yeah.
7-day joke right there.
That's a 7-day joke, 7-day payoff. Welcome back, folks. We're back with another ProCon episode of the Big Red Roundtable. Scott and I are joined, as always, by the cousins from the Husker Cuz Cast. -1 yet again. Tyler, unfortunately, couldn't make it tonight either, even though it's technically the same night we recorded the last one, but you didn't need to know that.
Yeah,
But
they
somehow,
did. 'Cause I'm not wearing the same shirt 2 weeks in a row.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is
Neither am
important.
I ever. No, I don't do that.
And you have to explain the red joke now.
Yeah, I don't think.
It was only recent for us because it was like 5 minutes ago.
Exactly. 5 minutes and 6 beers ago.
There's no way Justin would remember that.
We're going to miss you, Tyler. We missed you last time. We miss you this time, but we definitely don't miss your takes, except for the fact that they do tend to bring about some argument. But doesn't matter. Maybe we'll have some on this one. We don't know. We're going to talk about the fullback. The fact that Marcus Setterfield mentioned that we're bringing him back, the fullback back, as well as Matt Rhule mentioned that as well. So we're going to take a minute each to break down our pros and cons for bringing back the fullback, and then spend the last half of the show debating any and all things that we shared. We hope you enjoy the time that we do this. Anyway, kicking things off, as usual, Mr. Justin, you have lead off. Go for it.
All right. So my pro, now that I see the screen now, is, and the run the ball guy at Nebraska is going to love this. It's all about nostalgia, right? So bringing back the fullback is going to take run the ball back guy all the way back down, back at, Tom Rathman days, Corey Schlesinger days, and Makovica, Judd Davies. I mean, I guess you can go recent times with Andy Janovich there, but it's all about nostalgia and running the ball. That's what some people will absolutely love about the fullback.
That's it. Just nostalgia. There's no. Okay. Well, all right. We'll move on to Derrick. What do you think, Derrick, on the fullback
right.
there?
Judging by the fact that our offensive line has been really bad, it gives you an extra blocker for your quarterback if he's running the ball. It also gives you a lead blocker for your running backs. So having that extra body, maybe it could help you run the ball a little bit better, or even throw the ball better. And until they fix that offensive line, you're gonna have to have some help somewhere. And who better than a 240, 250 pound guy who's still fast? I mean, you're not going to run with him a lot. We never did. I mean, even when we did run a fullback, we only ran him 4 or 5 times a game half the time. So,
right,
bringing him back isn't going to change a lot other than the blocking part.
Yeah.
Alrighty. I can appreciate that take. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, so I kind of just made like a vague statement of like, it'll be fun to watch. And for a lot of, one of the reasons is exactly like Derrick said. I think it'll be fun to be able to see some sort of playing against our current weakness, because I don't expect Rhule and company to fix our offensive line in one season. And this kind of gives us an easy crutch for that. You're going to get, an extra lead blocker. And I think that'll be fun to watch in the sense that I won't be ripping my hair out of my scalp because I'm just watching our offensive line implode every single play. But then
can I just interrupt you for a second? I'm sorry. We
Sure.
do have old Rayola in for a second season. So don't you expect some improvement there? Like it's not a whole like there was only one guy brought on from the previous staff, and it was Rayola. So you kind of have to think that maybe if there's room for, a place where it's going to improve, that's the one spot, right?
I will keep that in my back pocket, and we can expand on that when we get into the open debate section. But in quick form, I suspect that will improve, but I don't know for sure. But on top of that, to finish my thought, I think what's going to be fun about it is, the first, if there's anything that I hope for from this season, is that we're down in the red zone, and we're not even like up to the we're not even up to the goal line yet. We're at like the 11 or the 12 or something. And we line up, and it gets handed off to the fullback, breaks right through the line, maybe knocks a linebacker over, and boom, touchdown. Like, I think that Memorial Stadium is going to go absolutely bonkers. So that'll be something that would be super fun for me, is watching the fullback return to Nebraska in its scarlet and cream glory. So I think that'll be fun. That'll be fun.
Scott, did Tyler write that headline for you? It'll be fun to watch. That sounds like something Tyler would write.
Well, no,
he did that on the last show. There'll be fun football to watch.
It'll be fun. It'll be fun.
It is. It should be fun. I mean, it should be fun to watch. Or it could be dreadfully painful. Who knows? But I'm more in the camp of it. It'll just be fun to watch. I don't hold the idea of nostalgia, because I know that we had a fullback even in. Didn't we have it with Mike Riley? It wasn't until Scott
Andy
Frost
Janovich,
yeah. So it's not like it's a distant memory of mine. It's just like it wasn't like a pinnacle of my experience to watch the fullback out there. So
Okay.
I'm just more intrigued by, like I said, the blocking, and there's an extra guy in there that you can probably mess with the defensive psyche a little bit by giving it to him. I don't know.
Alrighty. Appreciate that, Scott. Thank you. It was well thought out. For me, and I know, like you said, Derek, you're absolutely right. For the most part, even at the heyday with the option, unless it was really working, like, say, Joel Makovica against Washington back in 1997, I think we had 3 guys go over 100 yards that day: Scott Frost, Joel Makovica, and Amon Green. So it can work. It can be effective, especially if you set it up. But I think it, at least, even if it's only 4 or 5 attempts a game, that's something the defense has to prepare for. If they know there's a fullback in the lineup, number one, the middle linebacker is going to get a bloody nose, which is awesome. He can go out there and blow somebody up. And then there's another guy that could end up having the football in his hands when he blows that middle linebacker up. So Janovich, I don't think Memorial Stadium, other than perhaps 2008, when what the hell was his name? Alex Henry kicked the field goal. I think that run by Janovich in 2015 against Wisconsin was about as loud as Memorial Stadium has been since that field goal. It's kind of nostalgic. Yeah, I agree. There's probably some nostalgia involved in that, but Husker fans remember when, you've been pounding them with the eye back and with the option, and all of a sudden, boom, Makovic or somebody busts through the line late in the third quarter, and they're ripping off 20 and 30 and 40-yard runs. I can see the value in a guy that's going to produce 300 to 400 yards of rushing offense from that position. So that's my take on the fullback.
Pretty optimistic of you thinking that.
Well, I know, but I also know that Rhule's an old school coach, and he likes that old school type of offense. And I think you're going to see him attempt to get that fullback the option for some yardage. So up into that 300 yards in a season would certainly be productive compared to what we've had. I mean, let's be honest. How has it worked out without a fullback in the offense in the last 20 years? Not real well.
Does anybody want to just be brave enough to take a stab in the dark of who's going to play our fullback position at this point?
I imagine it's probably that. I mean, if I were to take a guess at that Kearney transfer, we've got that University of Kearney transfer. What's his name? Trevor Ruth.
Possible.
He's let's see. Do they have height and weight for this guy? I don't know. And then who is that guy that I saw on Facebook? Messages or something. I don't know. He did like 20 or 31 reps.
31 reps of 225.
What position does he play?
That they just started.
I think he's a linebacker, but I think he also played
That's
fullback.
a lineman, isn't he?
Yeah. I think he played. I think he was a. He was both sides of the ball guy. seems like
Who
the
knows who the fullback's going to be? I just know there's going to be one, and I'm happy about it.
I'd love to see Ruth. That'd
So-
be cool because then everybody could go Ruth, and that'd be freaking sick.
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. But Justin doesn't think so. So go ahead, Justin, with your con. I know you definitely have an opinion on this. So go ahead.
All right. So my con here is it's a waste of a skill position outside of a very few limited opportunities to where you can use the fullback. It's a waste of a skill position. Get your best guys out there. Rarely, very rarely is your fullback one of your best skill position guys out on the field. It hasn't happened in a long time, and I think the fullback is overrated. Whether or not we have one or not, I don't really care. It's just the 90s are gone, guys. The 90s, the past is gone. Football has evolved. Nobody's huddling like what they used to. It's a no huddle, predominantly offense, and fullback in the game. I mean, what is the last great fullback in college football that you can remember? Nobody. There isn't one. It's a very limited.
They probably played at Nebraska.
probably. So it's just like no, it's over. People are getting too excited about this fullback thing talk, and it's kind of crazy. I'd rather have more speed or an actual legitimate playmaker out there.
Alrighty.
I will answer that question because I saw a highlight clip of him on Twitter recently. I guess the most recent one would have been Mike Allstott with I think he was with the Buccaneers.
Well, that'd have been NFL, yeah. So that would have been NFL, and they still use an H-back a lot in the NFL, which is kind of your hybrid tight end.
If you ever talk about Mike Allstott, how many years are you going back?
Yeah, he's going back quite a ways.
Still in the 21st century, Let's see. When did he
but
graduate?
Just because, we'll save that here for a minute till we get to the point where we're talking about everything everybody said.
Oh,
Derrick,
God.
go ahead.
It's just not a needed position outside of blocking, and I kind of alluded to this earlier. You're not going to give the fullback a lot of reps. I mean, he might be in, he might be blocking, but you're not going to hand him the ball unless you're at a goal line situation. Scott kind of alluded to that. You might hand it to him at the 11-yard line, but look, maybe even at your own one, maybe it gets you out of a little bit of trouble too. But there's just not a huge need for a fullback, and I kind of with Justin, and it's a bit of a waste to have him in there unless he's just blocking. And again, right now we need that, but if you fix the offensive line, it's not as much of a need for it.
Alrighty, Scott, what's your thoughts on the fullback?
So with my pro, I definitely was being more of just like what's the most optimistic take I can possibly give. And I'm also with Justin and Derrick on this. I just think that the fullback is more of an obsolete position in current football landscape right now. I had to find this stat. I was able to actually find it. 63% of NFL teams have a fullback. So that's, two-thirds have a fullback. But out of 130 so FBS college football teams, only 20 of them have a fullback. And even in the FCS, only 21 FCS teams have a fullback on their roster. So it's one of those things.
Wow.
Just a quick question for you, Scott. Do you happen to know how many of those are in the Big Ten?
No, I don't.
Because I'm curious. I don't know how many Big Ten teams even run a fullback anymore. Even Wisconsin's doing away with a fullback.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I could already tell you which team does have a fullback, and it would be the Army. That's can pretty much bet that they've got a fullback. But
Army, Navy, probably Air Force.
Do you guys remember the last the name of the last fullback on Nebraska's roster?
It wasn't Andy
Ben
Jennings.
Miles.
Good job, Ken.
Good job.
I only know because he flamed out, because Riley flamed out. So,
But
All right. Sorry,
anyway,
Scott.
finish my thought. I think it's just becoming one of those obsolete positions. I was just talking to my wife about this. I had to explain to her, like, okay, what is a fullback? And it was just like, yeah, from just a baseline standpoint, it is a waste of a skill position at this current stage of college football. But like, I think it was Derrick who just said it. Is it good for us right now with a potentially still less than desirable offensive line? Yeah, I think it's one of those things that we need right now going into the first year with Rhule, getting that extra blocker while our offensive line gets their poop in a group. But I think if I were to look forward at Nebraska, I would say that it's probably going to be one of those things that slowly gets, I want to call it phased out, but I would say that it gets used less and less often as our offensive line becomes more proficient. I think, honestly, it's just one of those things to get the, if I'm being completely honest, I think it was one of those things to just get Husker fans more on board with the Rhule Kool-Aid. I have a feeling they're going to implement it, but I just don't see it as a long-term blueprint for the Rhule dynasty, or whatever you want to call it.
All right, you lost me after poop in a group, because my only thought after that was Billy Madison thinking he called his shit poop.
oh, I'm just going to channel my inner Tyler. Those are like 3 of the worst freaking takes I've ever heard in my life. Just saying. It's some of the worst
I think
takes I've
Tyler
ever
would
heard.
agree with us.
I think he would sit in here and go, do you guys not want to win? Do you guys not want to win? I mean, when was the last time Nebraska was winning 10 games a year regularly? We were lining up 22 personnel, 2 tights, 2 backs in the backfield, and we were smashing people. So apparently you guys don't want to win, which is fine. You don't have to want to win. I want to win. And I think, and I'm being a little tongue-in-cheek here, simply because I think I'm not sure why this darn thing won't share my slide. It suddenly decided it's not going to share the slide anymore.
Even your slide knows it's a shit take.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. It says less speed in the backfield, but otherwise there aren't any drawbacks to it. So in my opinion, there are no cons to having a fullback. So let me just say, you guys don't want to win, and that's fine with me. I just prefer to win, and I think you can start winning if you're smashing.
Riley had a fullback and we didn't win.
We didn't win, yeah, but he didn't use him right. See,
but Ken,
I've got a reason. Riley sucked, number one. Hey, thank God he brought back the fullback. Thank you for bringing back the fullback. You just didn't use him right, except once when Andy Janovich went 57 for a touchdown, because nobody's expecting us to use a fullback.
Pelini did all right. He was winning 10 games.
Yeah, he did. He did a little bit. He didn't have too many fullbacks on it. He had a lot of running backs, and he ran that stinking diamond formation. Yeah, he was winning. He was winning, and he was losing big too. But I'm saying that a little bit tongue in cheek, because I don't think you're going to see the actual return, and we'll just go ahead and just jump right into the debate section, because I just don't think you're going to see an actual return of the fullback. Fullback. I think you're going to see some more H-back situations where we've got a guy that can sit on the end of the line and block like a tight end, or he can motion in the backfield and play fullback, block up in the middle, take the ball, or even swing out and catch a pass as well. Someone that's got a little bit of athleticism, a little bit of size, and can run a little bit. I mean, hey, Makovica was no slouch. That dude could run a 4.7 40. So for 260, that wasn't too bad. But that's my take on it. And of course, I can't turn off the slide either, Scott. You might have to do that for me. But there we go. I had to use my mouse instead of my Stream Deck. My Stream Deck decided to muted my mic fine, but it didn't want to use the slideshow.
Damn, all right, I'm gonna take the shitty take and go, and then all the run the ball guys are gonna hate this, but I don't care if we have a fullback. I really, if we have one, great. If we don't, whatever. I don't care. If we're winning, we're winning. That's the only thing right now. It's winning games.
But we didn't win without a fullback. Not at the clip that we want to win at. We didn't win without a guy in the middle that could lead up in there and give the back some room to go.
I'm just not convinced that the fullback was that reason.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
a really kick-ass offensive line. I
Correlation
get
is
it,
not
but-
causation.
Well,
in this case,
but
in
it
my
wasn't
opinion.
like even under Pelini. You talk about some of those ass kickings we took. A lot of those were because his defenses were failing.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't know. I don't think there's one position out there that's going to change everything. All of a sudden, we're going to start winning 11 games a year because we have a fullback in. I just don't see that happen. It's going to take a change of offensive line. It's going to take a change of better defense. It's going to take better coaching. I mean, it's going to take a lot of stuff right now. And it's not one thing that's going to change everything. And I don't believe that for even a second.
Yep, I got you. Anybody else?
Well, to
we
answer
worn
your
this one out?
question in full, because you had mentioned about Rhule, if you think that I think that you wanted to know what I thought about it, and I don't even remember what I said when we had last talked about this topic. I can't remember what episode it was that we talked about it. I don't even remember what my take was, and that's fine because for the past few months when I've been thinking about this offensive line and Rhule and all this stuff, like I just bounce back and forth all the damn time with it. It's like, oh, could it be better? Sure. Could it be worse? Sure. I'd say right now, like where I feel like where I'm at this exact moment would be, I'm just not convinced that a year two with Rhule is going to be any different. And I only say that because I'm not convinced that a year one with any of this staff is going to somehow make a world of difference than what we saw last year. Until I see it, I'm not going to make any bold predictions.
And that's perfectly fair. I won't disagree with you. I am feeling a little more optimistic with the linemen that we've brought in. I like Ben Scott. I think he makes a big difference. If Rhule is a good enough coach, and being in his second season, I expect to see somewhat of a turnaround. And I'm not 100% convinced that he's the coach that I was hoping he could be, but at the end of the day, he's still convinced two coaches to hire him from the same school. So it says something for him. I mean, he's got something going that they're buying into. So there's got to be something, I guess.
Yeah, I'd hope so. That's what I'd hope to see with this whole fullback thing. Obviously, they have some grandiose scheme kind of chalked up in their minds of what exactly it is that they're doing with that. I don't think it is that cynical viewpoint of like, oh, Nebraska fans are just a bunch of gullible idiots that live in the world of nostalgia. So we're just gonna hang a carrot over them with a stick and be like, here's the fullback, and just get everybody on board with them. I don't think that's actually what they did.
I hope you're right, because that's kind of what it feels like a little bit to me.
So did you hear the what Scott Satterfield said when he was at UT Chattanooga? They played Nebraska in 2011, and he knew the whole story of Nebraska, what they were known for. And what was the first play that he ran against Nebraska? Ken, you're on mute, but I know. What
Fullback
was the first
dive.
play? Fullback dive in Memorial
And it went-
Stadium.
And it went for 4 yards or 5 yards almost. So,
But yeah. Of course he was playing to that crowd. I mean, when they say stuff like this, I don't know. I mean,
but my whole thought is like I could look at it from both ends of the spectrum, and that's probably the most annoying character trait I have, where it's like I look at it like optimistically. Rhule and company, he's got all of the right guys. They all are exactly what we need at Nebraska. Therefore, keeping Rhule is in continuity with that, and therefore it's a great decision. But then I can also look at it like the skeptic, that I see all over damn Twitter all the dang time of like, look at all these hires. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing. And then the icing on the cake is him keeping Rhule, which was the worst position group we had. This is awful. Which there's less and less of those guys as time has gone on, which is great because I'm tired of seeing it. But yeah, I can kind of sit there in the middle and be like, well, they both kind of make a good point. And, This whole fullback situation just kind of really adds a spice level to it that I think is really intriguing. But yeah, I'd say that my overall take on it is just like, okay, we got the fullback because our offensive line is trash. And it's also a good nod towards Husker fans that kind of brings them all together in a way that I think Husker fans are united, which is reminiscing on the glory days. And I think that we're probably not going to see the fullback all that much. I think maybe 10 to 15% of the plays will actually feature the fullback. And when they do, it's going to be fun and interesting. And maybe we'll see a touchdown or two out of it. I don't know, but I don't know. We'll just kind of see how the cards fall. And I'm intrigued.
So I want to go back a little bit because I know I've been pretty negative about the whole fullback thing. And I don't mean to come across that I absolutely hate it. I don't love it, but I don't hate it. I mean, I'm just indifferent. And I think it's overblown. I think all the hype behind it is just
unwarranted.
There shouldn't be any hype for it. Yeah, it's like it's just blown up a little bit. Is what I.
It's because you don't want to win, and that's okay. I'll forgive you for that. That's okay. It really is. And I agree with you, though. I agree. It's been completely overblown, too. I think it's been completely overblown, and I've kind of overblown it myself. I'm just intrigued. I'm intrigued to see what they're actually going to do with the position. What are they going to do? Who's going to fill it? Who's it going to be? And what are they going to use? Are they going to be true to what Rhule said? Hey, we're not going to come in here and be high flying and high fluting and spreading the ball out everywhere. We're going to line up. We're going to knock people over, which why he retained Raiola, to your point, Scott, and your question, Derrick. He obviously won over another coaching staff to the fact that he's a good coach. And I've heard tell from other podcasts and other places and other media folks that him and Raiola spent most of the Wisconsin game screaming at Whipple, just line up, let me run the football. You can't chuck it around the yard in this weather. And they were never on the right page. And the X's and O's that Whipple wanted to run were not the X's and O's that Raiola was strong at teaching offensive line for. Granted, he probably, as a good coach, would figure out how to do it. And the offensive line did get better as the year went on. My hope is that because Rhule's philosophy of offensive line play and Raiola's philosophy of offensive line play are identical, that should lead to more success. And Rhule's going to spend a lot of time with the linemen. So Raiola's going to get a good mentorship, I think, from Rhule and from Foley, who knows offensive line as well. So, hey, there's nowhere to go but up, right?
Ed effing Foley. That guy does everything.
Uncle Eddie, man. I want to meet Uncle Eddie. If I go to fan day, that's the line I'm getting in, is the coach's line, so I can meet Uncle Ed, for crying out loud.
The most intriguing thing about the fullback is what we've alluded to, is who on the roster can actually play that position. And I mean, you have to do a deep dive. It's not obvious in any scholarship position that's available right there. You have to dive into
it almost has to be a tight end. I mean,
it has to be somebody like an Eric Gilbert, somebody who's big, strong, and fast, and can block, and he can block. So maybe somebody like that. Maybe one of these kids that's coming, like you said, Scott, from UNK, or that Machezik, or however you say his last name.
Actually,
if you're throwing up,
I guess he's defensive lineman, but he's offensive lineman.
Yeah, he's like 320 pounds. So I was way off there. Oh, and I figured out that Mike Allstott, he was drafted in 1996. So that
I was gonna say he's like my age.
That is way off.
Yep,
Just
he was drafted in 96. I think he was.
Whatever.
Who did he play for? Didn't he play for Florida State? Wasn't he?
He played for Purdue.
Purdue. Okay, that's right.
Second
God,
round
would that
pick.
have been in the Joe Tiller days? Tiller actually had a freaking fullback when he was chucking the ball over the place with Drew Brees. Wow. See, you can throw the ball with a fullback, guys. Tom Rathman proved that at the 49ers. He could catch that ball about as well as Roger Craig could out of the backfield. So could be interesting. Like you guys said, the most intriguing part is who's going to line up at the spot. And the other intriguing question, seeing as how this is completely off topic, other than the fact I'm going to mention the fullback just because I like doing that. I got tickets for the spring game, And I will be curious. Is this going to be, from what I understand, Trev mentioned it on Sports Nightly one night that the spring game is going to be actual football. None of this tiddlywink bullshit that we saw in the first half of the last 2
They're not going to
years.
be popping pads. I'm
Gonna,
so disappointed.
They're going to be popping pads for 4 quarters.
Wait, what was it? What was it they called that thing?
Tagging off.
Thud
Titty
tackling.
bopping.
Thud tackling. There you go.
Yeah,
Titty
tagging off. They were tagging off. So that's what I hear is it's going to be real football. So yes, and I'll actually be able to see it this year since last year I couldn't. I hadn't had my cataract surgery yet. I couldn't even read the numbers when they were at the 10-yard line in
when
front
we
of
were
me.
sitting there.
Oh, that was miserable.
It was like
was miserable.
I can't see shit. It's just like blobs. It's just like red smudges
with glasses on
around. Yeah.
And yet I was driving a truck for a living. So
yeah, let's not let the DOT know that.
Yeah, we won't let them know that at all. No. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The spring game's going to be fun. It's going to be warmer, hopefully, this year, like it was last year. Last year was nice. Later, too. I think it's April 22nd. So we'll be there.
I'm ready for some spring ball already.
You know what? I meant
Around
to mention this in our last episode. Just a sneak peek for anybody who's watching this and listening to this later. We will be having on August 19th, 2023, the preliminary information is out. This is all I've got at this point, but there will be a Nebraska Podcast Awards show. Think of it as like Husker football meets the Dundees from The Office. A lot of fun awards, a lot of serious awards. It's just going to be a lot of fun. We'll be at the Nebraska Brewing Company in La Vista, Nebraska, kind of over near the Cabela's area, kind of over there where Hale Varsity Club's at. So mark your calendars, August 19th, 2023. Fans, friends, and family of any of the podcasts that are nominated or that are going to be there are welcome to be there for free. So mark your calendars, show up. It should be a whole lot of fun. And Nebraska Brewing Company makes some good beer. So can't go
Which
wrong.
podcast do you think will drink the most beer?
I vote ours will probably be up.
I'm thinking yours is a close second to the guys that actually do their podcast at Nebraska Brewing Company. So
challenge accepted.
No Block, No Rock has a tendency to put down quite a bit, and I'm pretty sure Rob Zadiska will put you to the test too. That dude, man, he can pack it away.
Informally known as the Husker Buzzcast.
Buzzcast, yes, the Husker Buzzcast. Holy shit, that's actually pretty good. You might have to change y'all's name.
That's what I'm here for, guys.
You're the best.
Hey, just another friendly reminder. Nebraska baseball starts up in 12 days here.
Oh, that's
boy.
right.
By the time this airs, it'll probably be the week of almost.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be better than the basketball team, Derek?
I hope so. Hey, I tell you what, the best basketball team's been.
They beat Penn State today.
They did. And I've enjoyed watching
2 weeks.
I think they look pretty good.
Before this episode comes out. We beat Penn State 2 weeks ago.
We beat Penn State last week.
Now.
Yeah, that's it. I should play the Back to the Future music right now.
Hey, he's got 11 wins. It's the most wins he's had in the season.
Yep.
You want to see progress. You're seeing
Way to go, Freddie.
It's the best 11-win basketball team in the NCAA.
It's progress. It's
Got a
progress.
chance.
Everybody always wants to talk about progress. Well, you got
Yep, that's progress for sure. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. And
You know who the
I'm
biggest
sure
fan
hoping-
of Tominaga is?
he went off for
30
points. 30 damn points.
is Tyler a big Tominaga fan?
No, Tominaga is, though.
Yeah. He's a huge fan. Yeah.
If I could shoot like that, I'd be a big fan of me too.
He's not a very big fan of the refs, though. He does flop a lot.
He's kind of like the Martin Gramatica of Husker basketball.
He is the character.
There's a way back machine pull, dude. That's pretty good. Martin Gramatica. Was it him or was it his brother that celebrated a 35-yard field goal when he played for the Cardinals and ripped his ACL up, jumping up in the air because he was happy?
Oh, that was
his.
him?
Yeah, I think that was Gramatica's
Yeah.
younger brother. He kicked for Kansas State, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, Kevin Gramat or whatever
Celebrating.
Blazes his name was. But, yeah, so with August 19th, 2023, Nebraska Podcast Awards Show. Should be a lot of fun. Guys, you know the drill. Where can folks
All right.
find you?
Look for us on Twitter and on Facebook at Husker Cuz Cast. Catch our episodes anywhere you get your podcasts. And don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe.
Absolutely. Scott, they can find you on Twitter, right?
Yep, you can find me on Twitter at ScottGenRedPod. That is Scott with 2 T's. The second T is silent.
And you can find me and the show itself on Facebook and Twitter at GenRedPod, as well as GenRedPod on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and like this video. Helps folks find the show. And then if you want to listen to the audio only podcast, that is at Generation Red on your favorite podcast app. Anyway, we really appreciate everybody who's listened to this show, everybody who has watched this show on YouTube. We really appreciate you. And Dustin and Derrick. There we go. And all I'm drinking is ginger ale, for crying out loud. Justin and Derrick, they're the Husker Cuz Cast. Scott and I were Generation Red together. We are the Big Red Roundtable, here to remind you every single week that we love you. And there is no place like Nebraska.
Iowa's corn sucks. So what do they suck? They suck old motor oil. I don't know. I didn't think ahead of this one this time. So yeah, they suck just all around.
All right, go ahead, Justin. I'm not going to cut you off this time.
Go Big Red!
Go Big Red. See you next week, folks.